Okay, so good evening, good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida, in New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Oh, I already have a like. Thank you. So this evening, or yes, this evening, I wanted to reach out because one of the reasons I decided to do this live session this evening is because I've been paying attention. Yes, I actually have been paying attention and noticed that on Wednesday nights, a lot more people seem to be watching the videos addressing infidelity. So I wanted to come out here and see if I could do a quick little chat with you guys and see who's here. I think we have a couple people, but we have a couple quiet people. So quiet people, if you could say hi, if you have questions, I would love to answer some questions. But the one of the questions that I keep getting, and I actually got that earlier, is whether a person can stop, or how do you make your partner stop cheating. The reality of it is you do not get to make your partner stop cheating, because that is a decision that they make themselves. In a video that I posted a while back, I talked about what was it? 5 reasons people cheat. And one of those reasons that I shared was that it's what the person wants to do. It's the person's choice. I know that there are usually a lot of excuses that people make. There are a lot of things that people say as far as this was their reason for doing it. But the reality of it is people cheat because they want to cheat. People cheat because they make that choice. People cheat because they decide, hey, yes, I have this relationship with this person, but right now I am choosing to do whatever it is that I'm choosing to do. And there's really not much, unfortunately, that you can do to make your partner not step out of the relationship. There's really not much that you can do, because even if you're the most wonderful man, the most wonderful woman, and you do all those things that people expect of a partner, that still does not mean that your spouse is not going to decide, hey, I feel like it right now, so this is what I'm going to do. So my advice to people is usually to work on yourself and figure out what it is that you're willing to accept, what it is that you're willing to put up with. Because in these situations, you're asked to put up with certain things. You're asked to make certain decisions. Because if your partner has been unfaithful, one of the decisions that you want to make is, okay, are we going to stick it out and work this out and move forward together, or are we going to decide to end this relationship? And in order to do that, you have to be in that space where you're comfortable, where you feel strong enough to make those types of decisions. And yeah, at the end of the day, there's absolutely not a single thing that you can do if your partner decides that this is what they choose to do. And the other question I often get is, or not necessarily a question, an issue that people face is that why this person or why that person? It's not necessarily that the person was a better partner, that the person was better in any way than the person that they have, than the spouse that they have. It's just a matter of this was what was available for whatever reason that they chose to do this. This one thing I always try to help clients understand is that your partner's infidelity had absolutely nothing to do with you. And the person that they cheated with has nothing to do with you. I try to make people understand it's hard to not compare yourself, but there is no comparison between you and whoever your partner decided to have. Or my mic seems to be thing. Let me see. So yeah, there's usually no comparison between you and whomever your partner decides to do whatever they decide to do with. So it's just a matter of figuring out, just work on yourself. Okay, I see that my mic seems to not be working. Let me see if my phone's working. I gotta try to see if I can at least hear this on the phone. So I apologize if what do you call it? If you end up hearing something. Okay, so at least now I know it's working. Perfect. My phone's okay. Because so if you're online, please say hi. I hope that you guys will say hi, because my intention is for this to be a Q&A, not necessarily for it to be a lecture. But yeah, it seems to have a lot of quiet people. Let's see. I could answer a couple let's see. I want to try to see if I could answer some of the questions that I've gotten, or go over some of the questions that I've gotten in the comments. But I really would love. Okay. So this Q&A is not working out. Okay. Another question that sometimes come up is how to heal. Like, what do you do? How do you get over it? Honestly, it's not something that you get over, or you, how do how do I put this? It's not one of those things that you're gonna just suddenly not feel or not experience, or that you're definitely not gonna forget it. But rebuilding trust is possible. Rebuilding trust, getting to that point where you and your partner can go back to something similar to what you had prior to the infidelity is possible, but it takes work. And it's not work. And I've mentioned this before. It's not one of those things where your partner, hi, Orville, thank you for saying something. I've been sitting here talking by myself. Hi. So yes, it's not something that you just forget. It's not something that one person works on by themselves. It's something that the couple have to work together on, not the person who was cheated on, not the person who was cheated, not the person who cheated, but it has to be something that both partners actually choose to work on. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Orville, do you have a question? I would love to answer some questions and make this a little bit more engaging if you have anything. But otherwise, I'll just keep talking until something else happens. But thank you for saying hi at least. Let's see, what else did I have? Another question that someone asked recently is, how do you figure out when it's time, or when enough is enough? There is no set time. Some people cheat once and they are remorseful and they decide, okay, I hurt my partner, and they decide, okay, we're not doing this again. And they don't, and they work it out, they heal, and then they move forward as a couple, and it just works. However, if your partner cheated one time and you guys supposedly worked it out, and they did it again and then again, and you keep going through the cycle, it may be time for you to start making some decisions, either that this is going to be a part of, this is how your relationship is, this is who you are, this is where your relationship is, or for you guys to decide, okay, maybe if you decide, hey, I don't want to deal with this, this is not how I envisioned my life, this is not what I want from my life, and then decide, okay, if this is not what you want, then you make that decision and go find someone who's offering you what you want for your life. But you don't just it's not one of those, there's no set time. There's no, a person cheated once, or a person cheated twice, or a person cheated 3 times. Even the person who cheated, 5 times, they can still make that decision and decide, you know what? I don't want to jeopardize my family, and I want to stop. I want to stay and be faithful to my husband, my wife, or whomever. But that decision of whether or not to wait, or how long to wait, is going to be up to you. And there's the apology. There will always be an apology. There will always be an apology if the person does not want the relationship to end. But the apology does not necessarily make things better. You have the question I have is, after catching your partner cheating, how do you know, or how do you discern if the apology is sincere or not? There's no real way to know the words are sincere, but you can observe the actions. You can observe you can see how things are going. You can see the things that they do after the apology. That will let you know, okay, this person is truly remorseful about what they did. This person truly wants to maintain or resume or fix our relationship. But sometimes the person apologizes, and then after the apology, they just go back to normal, or they go back to what they think is the normal relationship. But that does not and the other thing is that our society has gotten to this point where it's almost like, hey, if I say I'm sorry, it's over, or if I say I'm sorry, then we move forward, or you're done, or the apology doesn't make it hurt less. The apology does not necessarily mean that the apology does not mean that you're gonna be able to move on right away. You have to look at the things that they do. You have to look at the behaviors. What are they doing to help you heal from that? What are they doing to provide that reassurance that, hey, this thing really is over, and I really am sorry that I did it? In the previous video, I mentioned how certain things that a partner does or a partner can do to help you heal after infidelity, but there's no telling that this person, if the person is not doing some of these things. For instance, if one of the things you need is that reassurance of knowing where the person is at first, if they are not willing to provide that because, hey, I apologize, you should trust me now, then it may be that, the apology might have just been an apology. But usually, when an apology is sincere, you can tell through the person's actions. And sometimes a person just does not do those things that you expect or that they promise to do. And that's the other thing. When you guys make a plan as far as how you're going to move forward, do they follow up? Do they follow through with that plan? What are they doing to make sure, to help you? Yeah, what are they doing to help you heal? What are they doing to reassure you that, yes, that was a one-time incident and it's not happening again? So, yeah, there's no real way to know. There's no set way to know. But if you observe the person's action, a lot of times you're able to tell that, hey, this apology is real, or this apology was just to make you forgive them, or to try to get you to forgive them and move forward without them doing anything. So that's the best I got. Sorry. Any other questions? If you're out here and you got questions, please, I would love to answer some questions. I'd love to talk about some stuff, but let's see, what's another question that I have seen in the comments that I would like to talk about? Okay. Oh, thank you, Horrible. Thank you. Hey, I try. I want this to be informative. I want this to be informative. I want people to get something out of hanging out with me for a little bit this evening. But yeah, let's see. I'm trying to see if I could get the questions that have been asked, and because there's this one video that seems to be super popular. I don't know how it got there, but I'm happy that it got to be super popular. Let me see. Oh, okay. This one, here's the thing. One of the comments that I've seen more than once on more than one video is people talking about when your spouse or the person who cheated acts like, or tries to make you feel like it's your fault. It's not. It never is. No one is ever responsible for the actions of another adult person. An adult makes their own decisions. It does not matter what you or anyone else does. If your spouse, even if a person cheated, you're still not responsible for your spouse decide deciding, okay, so since you cheated, I'm going to cheat. No, that's a decision that the individual makes. The attempt to make someone feel guilty, the attempt to blame the other party is that person's, instead of, before I was talking about how when a person apologizes, their actions tell you if they truly are remorseful. When a person tries to blame the other party, it's usually because that person is trying to deflect responsibility. So instead of taking, to me, that says that there's really no true remorse. Because if there was remorse, the person would accept responsibility for their action. So when the person, instead of accepting responsibility for their action, is trying to blame someone else, trying to blame another person, it means that, you know what? Hey, I did what I did. I really wasn't thinking about you. I really was not thinking about how that could or would hurt you. That was just me. So when that happens, and you need to reconsider, or you need to consider where you want to go with that situation. And definitely never let anyone else, never let any adult, especially, never allow another adult to blame you for their behavior. Every adult, every person gets to make their own decision. And even a child should not blame someone else for their action, because we have free will. We get to think, and we get to decide, and we get to make the decisions of what it is that we want to do, what it is that we choose to do, how we choose to act. So if anyone is, it doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter what you failed to do in the relationship. As an adult, your partner has the option, your partner has the will to either ask for what they need. If they're not getting what they need in the relationship, they can ask for what they need in the relationship. If they are not happy in the relationship, they can speak up. They have the opportunity, they have the option to do that. But if they choose to go somewhere else other than working it out with you, that is a decision they make. You may not know what they need. You may not know that they did not have that they weren't getting something that they needed in the relationship. So it's really up to them to just, it's a decision they make. If someone is trying to make you feel guilty, or trying to make you feel like their behavior is your responsibility, or their behavior is your fault, that is a clear sign that it's probably something that's going to happen again. Yeah, it's probably something that's going to happen again, because that person they don't believe. Sometimes it's almost like they don't even believe that they did something wrong. It's like, this kid hit me, so I hit him back. Yeah, I get that, but you had a choice. You always have a choice. As adults, as humans, as people, as grown people, we always have a choice. So I don't know. That's just my thought on that one. We have a choice. And sometimes the person, sometimes the person chooses that choice. When children are involved, do you recommend leaving the relationship early, or exhausting every option before leaving? Whether or not there are children, it's always up to you. When there are children, it makes the situation a little bit more difficult, because it's more than just the two of you to be considered. When there are children, it's important that you think the whole thing through of, okay, because just because you have children does not mean that your partner will cheat this time and not do it again. Because you probably had children when your partner stepped out of the relationship. So having children it's not necessarily a vaccine or something that prevents it from happening. Taking the time to figure out, okay, maybe there is something that your partner needed and that they weren't getting, and that you guys will talk about it and figure out how to move forward together. Maybe there is something that you need that your partner can do to help you recover and heal from that situation. But it's always good to explore the options, whether or not children are present, because whether you have children or not, you've invested time, you've invested your emotion, you've invested yourself in this relationship. So when that is the case, after that investment, it's at least worth thinking about or looking into or exploring your options. But the make staying for the children does not always work, because if you're staying for the children and you're not really happy in that relationship, or you're not really getting your needs met in that relationship, a lot of times the children can feel it, and the relationship ends up being a little bit toxic anyway, because hey, you guys are not exactly getting along, or you guys are not things are not happening the way they should be happening. So all those reasons can cause a problem. So at the end of the day, children or no children, the couple has to figure out how or what they will do to resolve the relationship, to resolve their issues in the relationship in order to make that decision. People make it for the children all the time, and sometimes it's not as easy to stay in the relationship even for the children, because if you're staying for the children and someone keeps constantly stepping out of the relationship, at some point there it starts to get to you. It starts to wear on the person. It starts to get emotionally draining. It could be, and the relationships often become too toxic. And the one thing that sometimes happen is, if you're in a relationship and your partner is that you're staying in because of the children, and your partner is constantly stepping out of the relationship, one of the things that can happen is that you give the children a different view, or you have the children starting to look at things. For example, I know it happens more often. It happens very often where maybe a husband is cheating on the wife and the children are seeing it. We think that children don't know, but children know. Children are very, very perceptive. They're very much aware of what is going on. So if you are staying for the children, you have some work to do. I see we have a couple new people. So new people, hello, that are coming in. Please ask questions. I love questions. Thank you, Orville, for asking questions. Because I'm struggling here. I'm trying to figure out what questions to answer, but I have nothing. But yeah, that's what I would say. But it's definitely always worth at least exploring let's see, what other questions that people ask that I would like to. Now, another question that I've seen is, when you decide to end the relationship, have a conversation with the children. My mom stayed for me and I didn't need it. I agree. I absolutely agree. It's important to talk to the children, because sometimes, like I said, people think that the children don't know, but the children do know. The kids, they see everything that is happening. They see everything. So yes, it is important. It is important to have conversations with the children, and yeah, sometimes it helps. They free you. They free you from the responsibility, from that sense of obligation that people tend to feel to stay for the children. So yeah, I agree. Let's see what other questions. Thank you, Miss Nikki. You're watching. Okay, let's see what other questions do I have. Okay, let's see. I just recently. Okay, so I've talked about this more than once. This person's question said, I just found out my husband cheated on me before and after we were married. I'm angry. I just want to cheat back at this point, but I know it's not the right thing to do. It's not. And recently I spoke about that in a different video. You're giving up too much power when you let someone else dictate what you do. You're giving up too much, and going out and choosing to go and get involved with whomever that you probably normally wouldn't get involved with, just because someone did something, it almost compounds the hurt, because now you're putting yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in order to get back at someone. And half the time they might not even realize, because the whole idea of cheating is that you're going behind the other person's back and doing it. So if you're out there with other people and your partner doesn't know it, one, it does not necessarily hurt them. And if your partner is stepping out of your relationship because they're over your relationship, it still doesn't hurt them. But spreading yourself out there, putting yourself out there, exposing yourself to these things that you normally would not do just it doesn't do it. So it's definitely not worth it. It's not worth your self-respect. It's not worth your self-esteem, because when you're out there doing something with people you would not be doing things with, because when you're out cheating to get back at your spouse, you're not necessarily enjoying the cheating process. You're more in a revenge fest, or trying to get revenge, and it doesn't work. It doesn't. And that's the other thing. It doesn't necessarily make you feel better. It doesn't make you feel it's. I know sometimes like a person hits you and you hit them back, and maybe you feel better. Maybe somebody does something to you and you do it back. And sometimes, yeah, people do think or tend to feel better, but this is one of those situations where you don't. So it's, to me, and from what I have seen, it doesn't work. It just makes if there was ever a chance of the relationship being repaired, it reduces that chance. And if you're at that point where you're so hurt, you're so over this relationship that you're willing to go get with someone else in order to get back at this person, it may be the conversation or the decision and what you should be looking at is ending the relationship, instead of putting yourself in all sorts of negative positions, negative situations in order to get back at them. Thank you, Orville. I agree. Revenge cheating takes more of a toll on the person seeking revenge. Yes, that's exactly what it does. Imagine when you're out there trying, and that's the other thing people forget is when they're out there looking for that revenge relationship or revenge affair, you're so much less discriminate. You will, like 3 years or 2 years or maybe next week, you'll look at the person and think, what made me think this was possible? Why would I ever think of doing this? So yeah, it's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. So I highly discourage it, because if you want to work on your relationship, it does. If you want to work on your relationship, it's going to make the situation worse. So you shouldn't do it because of that. And if you don't really want to work on your relationship, it's easier to just move forward, just move on, and just go and do your own thing. Move on, find someone else who's going to respect and appreciate and be with you. So anyways, it looks like there aren't really that many questions. Any other questions, Orville or Nikki? So I was really thinking of doing this maybe somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour. And I think we're at about 30 minutes. I'm thinking this may be a good time to call quits. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think. Right, I have a few other people on this chat, a few other quiet people on this chat. So quiet people, if you guys have do you guys have any questions that you want to talk about? Anything? Because this conversation for me was just to talk about things to do, how to heal, how to move forward from infidelity. Again, I've noticed that as I was looking through as I was looking at the stats, or what are the analytics from these videos, I noticed that around this time, or around on Wednesday evening, there seems to be a lot more traffic to the videos pertaining to infidelity. So I wanted to do a quick Q&A, a quick little chat talking about some of that stuff. So if anyone online would like to ask another questions, yeah. And hey, you're a lot more vocal than the rest of them because you've actually said something, and I appreciate that, Orville. Thank you. But everyone else is just hanging out and just chilling for right now. So, do you have any other questions? Because if you don't, and I think I might just have to call it a day. We keep getting new people that pop in and out, but nobody's saying much. Okay. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. But it looks like yeah, there are no more questions. So I'm guessing, Ash, how do you deal with mental triggers from infidelity? That first thing you got. Thank you for the question, Ash. Um, the first thing you have to do is acknowledge it, because one of the things that people sometimes do is try to pretend it's not there, or and a lot of times the partner is the best advocate for don't think about it, and everyone else is telling you don't think about it. When they tell you don't think about it, you will think about it more. When it happens, acknowledge it. But even before you get there, take the time to heal from the situation, because if you don't take the time to heal, it makes you more susceptible to the triggers. It make everything. It's one example I often use is when grieving. Sometimes when a person is in that situation of grief, and during the first few days they spend the whole time busy doing every single thing possible to avoid thinking about their loss, and then eventually when all the work is done, then they are sitting there and it's like, okay, air reminds me of this person. I'm drinking water. Oh, this person used to drink water. And all the triggers are a lot stronger when you have not dealt with it. But the first thing, once you deal with it, then the second thing you need to do is, as the triggers come up, address them. And even talk to your partner to let them know that you experience those triggers, because a lot of times the triggers stem from things that your partner does. So make sure that you are sharing, that you're talking to them, and making sure that they know that, hey, maybe I should avoid this right now, or at least for the time being, I should avoid doing this particular thing that triggers my partner, that triggers my wife or husband. And get help. Get help. Because the stronger you are, the more you heal, the less likely the triggers will impact you. Self-talk works too. Once you've gone through the process of healing, once you've started talking and working with your partner on moving forward, if you start going to that, what do you call it? When things happen, just being able to remind yourself that, no, we're not in this situation. And especially if that particular relationship has ended and you've moved on to a new relationship, those triggers can still present again. Those same things that happened in that relationship. For instance, you had a partner who cheated and who told you they were at work when they were out cheating. So now you go, whenever you're home and your new partner says, hey, I'm working late, then you start, having all sorts of panic attacks, having all sorts of situations, thinking that, oh yeah, that's what my husband used to say, or that's what my wife used to say. So making sure that you're aware of it enough to remind yourself that, hey, this is not the situation. This is not what is happening. And if something is going on, and if you have questions, if you have concerns, create that open relationship with your partner to where if something is happening, you can easily tell them, hey, this is where I am right now. This is what's going on with me. If there's a particular place that you find triggering, make sure that your partner knows about it, so that when they know that, hey, when I go to the cabin, it's an issue for my spouse. So they know that anytime you guys are going to the cabin, maybe they need to do certain things to provide that reassurance. They need to be a little bit more attentive to you. They need to do certain things to help you feel to help you be back in your comfortable, normal, regular space. But the main thing you can do for triggers is to take care of yourself from the very beginning. Because if you don't do it, if you try to pretend it's not there, if you try to pretend it's not happening, it feels even worse, because the more we try to deny that something is there, the more it's what do you call it? The more we try to deny something is not there, the more we're focusing on it. Because in order to deny that it's not there, the one thing that you're doing is ruminating and thinking and really thinking about it. So yeah, I hope that helps. Does that help, Ash? I hope it helps. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, let me see if I have something else in the... Okay, I've been trying to... Oh. Okay. How do people deal with growing up in an environment where cheating was accepted? Huh. Then you get one or two things. You get someone who, when the child grows up seeing that this is how it is, they either go to that space of, oh, okay, so this is how it works, this is how we do it, or they get to the other end of it of, oh, I'm gonna be super extreme and not do it, and make sure that I don't do that. But one of the things that it does is it impacts the child's view of both parents, both the parent who cheated and the parent who accepted or allowed family members have cheated. I'm not sure what that means. I'm guessing you're referring to the parents have cheated. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, but usually if cheating is accepted, then sometimes the child or the children can look at the person who was cheated on as weak. They can look at the person who, yes, the parents and male family member. Yes, the parents and male family. That's not uncommon. It happens. Hey, and like I said, those healing from infidelity videos are the most common, one of the most watched videos on my channel. So it happens a lot. Children see it, they know it, and it can change their view of the people. It can, oh yeah, yes. He's almost said even uncles and even grandfathers. And hey, I know a lot of times in a lot of Caribbean cultures, sometimes it's almost accepted or expected that or in some families, not all people, but in some families or in some places where it's almost accepted that yes, this man will have his wife and some other women, and that was the way it worked for generations. And this is one of the reasons that sometimes children grow up with that mindset that, yeah, this is how it worked. My grandpa did it. My dad did it. And now as a adult man, I'm going to do the same thing. But one thing that people forget is that things have changed. Like when my grandfather was doing these things, the things were not the same for women. It was more a situation where a lot of times women had to put up with certain things because they didn't have as much choice. Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm Haitian, so I've seen some of it. But yes, a lot of times, especially when we're looking at some in certain countries, in the Caribbean, for example, women did not have much choice. So if your husband was out there with with 3 or 4 other women, sometimes the women had to put up with it because that was their bread and butter. The man was taking care of them, and they didn't have another option as far as, okay, if I leave him, where do I go? What people now need to understand is that there are options. and that women no longer feel that they have to stay home and deal with and accept certain behaviors from their partners. So things are changing, and I know a lot of times people get really upset, and when a woman decides, no, this is not working for me, I'm going to leave. But it is a thing. If you're not respecting her, if you're not treating her the way, if you're not treating her with respect, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, yeah, sometimes she will leave. And don't get me wrong, I understand. Yes, women cheat just like men do. Especially these days, women are cheating just as much as men. But in this one, I was just referring to in history. That's how it has been, but now it's not the same anymore. And people need to understand that just because your grandma stayed, just because your mom stayed, does not mean that your wife is going to stay. Does not. And the other thing is this what you want for your daughter? When your mom stayed and you saw how it hurt her, and now you're thinking you're going to do the same thing to your wife, but is this what you want your daughter to have? Do you want your daughter to be dealing with a man who's with everybody else? And then she knows this and it hurts her, and she's staying at home and really just dealing with the hurt. So it's important for people to really think about that too, especially, and whether you're a man or a woman, you should really be considering, hey, are these the examples that I want to set for my children? Because when you set this example, when you teach your children, this is how things are done. When you set this example for your children, then at the end of the day, then your children end up doing the same thing. And it may not always, it's probably not going to work out the way it did for your parents or your grandparents, because yeah, people aren't doing that anymore. So, the other question I was going to talk about is the whole thing of forgiveness. That is important. And that unless forgiveness can and will and happens, moving forward, that can't happen. But one thing that I always caution people is that forgiveness is not a, hey, it happened, I forgive you, we're good. Forgiveness is not a thing that you just, there's no switch. There's not a forgiveness switch. It's something that you have to work towards. Forgiveness is not one of those things where you just decide, the person says, I forgive you. And forgiveness also does not mean that the hurt goes away. You can decide, you choose, okay, I am going to forgive and I am going to move forward, and we're going to just make things, we're going to just move forward. But that does not necessarily mean that the pain is going to stop. It's a journey. You have to work through the pain. The first thing is you have to feel the pain, because we have a tendency to try to avoid feeling what hurts. But at some point, in order to move forward, in order to heal, you have to take the time and feel the pain. You have to take the time and deal with what you're experiencing in order to be able to move forward. And once you've done that, start working towards letting go. If you need to go to couples counseling, go to couples counseling. If you need to go to individual counseling, go to individual counseling. Go to do whatever it is that you need to do in order for whatever, for everything to, how do I put this? In order to move forward, in order for you to be able to be okay with where you are, so that you can move forward. But at the end of the day, forgiveness, it can happen. It needs to happen in order for you to move forward, but you can't rush it. You can't rush it. You don't just get up and say, okay, I'm going to forgive today. You have to be ready for it. And in order for you to be ready for it, there's a little bit of healing that has to happen. And there's going to be a lot of conversation that needs to happen, because you and your partner are going to have to talk about certain things. You guys are going to have to make some decisions to help you move forward, to help you heal. And then after you've done that, then you'll be able to, yes, move forward and just, move forward and have those, and have that and resume and rebuild and heal your relationship. But before you can even think about healing, before you can even think about moving forward, you got to take the time and feel the hurt, let the pain happen, and then move forward. It's not just you, Orville. A lot of people do that. A lot of people. I mean, who wants to deal with pain? And we've been taught. What do we tell kids? Don't cry. It's okay. Don't cry. You're okay. Our society teaches us not to deal with pain. Our society teaches us to, man up or woman up or soldier on or whatever they use. But what they forget is that when you don't take the time to heal, when you don't take the time to deal with it, it sticks with you. When you take because dealing with things is how we let them go. Dealing with things is how we release. When we don't do that, when we don't take the time to release and just let things go, we're holding on to it. And the harder, the longer we hold on, the longer it's going to stay. In order for us to be able to move forward, in order for us to be able to heal, it really is important that we start, we actually take the time to feel the feeling, because that feeling wants to be felt. So I don't know. I see people keep popping in and out. Are there any more questions? Are there any more thoughts, issues that I can address? Because I would love to, if you have something, I would love to address it. Otherwise, we're coming close to that hour. So I'm not sure if there's anything else, any issues, thoughts, concerns, or ideas. Hey, if you're here, I would love to know, what do you guys think of this channel? Because I've been trying to figure out how to make it more interactive. I would love advice. I would love thoughts. I would love what kind of things would you like me to address? Are there any issues that you guys would like to see me address that I have not addressed? Yeah, because I've done a lot of work on this channel over the past year. And yeah, my goal is to make it more for the people who watch it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go to the chat, to the comments, and see if I could get. Okay, let's see. This person said, "I just can't get over my husband's affair. I have tried, but he has security on his phone." Okay. Here's the thing. If your partner can have a lock on their phone. If your partner, if you need to be getting into your partner's phone, then there's no trust. Then you haven't worked on anything. Then the healing is not going to happen. In order to begin healing, you need to be able to work towards rebuilding trust. People can have a lock on their phones for a lot of different reasons. For example, I have my phone is password protected because I have things that I do on the phone. I have things that I access on the phone. I have numbers on the phone that I don't want people just accessing like that. So yes, people can have a lock on their phone. If you need to get into your partner's phone in order to know that they're not cheating, and your partner is not allowing that, then your issue is not the phone. Your issue is a communication, is a trust, is a conversation issue, something that you and your partner needs to address. The phone is absolutely the least of your issues. It's not people can have a lock on their phone for various reasons. And yes, one of the reasons may be that your partner does not want you to see who's texting him or her. However, but seriously though, think about it. How many times, how long, how often are you going to be doing this? If you have to search your partner's phone to know that they are not cheating, then you're in a completely different situation. You're not in a relationship. This is not your partner. I don't want to say a captive, but it kind of is. like someone that you have to keep track of, someone that you're trying to hold on to. You should not need, in a relationship, in an adult relationship where there is trust, you should not have to check your partner's phone. You should get, the goal should be to get to the point where you don't need to do this, to get to the point where you and your partner can have conversations where your partner can say, hey, I'm at work, and you know that your partner is at work. That's what you need to work on. Forget trying to get trying to figure out how to hack your partner's phone or how to get into their phone like that. No, that's not going to help your relationship. Knowing, being able to trying to get into your partner's phone when they don't want you to just means that you guys are not where you think you are. Maybe they don't want you to access it because they have stuff going on in there that they don't want you to see. Maybe they don't want you to access it because they don't think you have a right to access it. So yeah, the goal should be building that trust. And the other thing I will say is, after infidelity, one thing that I do recommend is giving the person access. So if your partner really is looking to rebuild, if your partner is really interested in moving forward and healing your relationship, and they are not doing anything, they most likely will share information with you. They most likely will allow you to have that type of access, because one of the things that I often recommend is being an open book, letting a person know, letting your partner know that, hey, we're good. This is what, because the more you try to hide things, the more people believe there is something to hide. That is true. So this is why I always recommend for people, especially for clients, when I work with clients that are dealing with history of infidelity, one of the things that I always tell them is the importance of being an open book, because if you share with your partner what is going on, they feel less of a need to be going to look for it. However, if your partner is being secretive, if your partner is not willing to share, if your partner is trying to hide certain things, then your issue, like I said, is not that your partner has a lock on their phone. Your issue is that there is an issue of trust between you and your partner. The fact that you feel the need to try to get into their phone, and the fact that they have stuff in their phone that they're trying to hide from you. But if your partner is locking their phone so that you don't get access to it, your issue is not the phone. One of the reasons I actually keep I try to monitor the comments on this channel, because especially these infidelity, these videos where I address infidelity, one of the things that I often see in there are people posting, spamming with the names of companies or people that can hack your partner's phone, that can hack your partner's email. And that you should not need to do that. If you need to hack your partner's email, if you need to hack your partner's phone, the issue is not the email. The issue is not the phone. If you're at in that position where you feel that you can't trust your partners to the point where you need to have someone hack their phone, then maybe you need to be reevaluating who you are involved with. Maybe you need to be reevaluating the relationship that you're in, and maybe saving the money that you're paying the hacker. I don't know. It's been an hour, so thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for this long. Are there any more questions, any more concerns, any more thoughts? Did you guys give any thoughts to my question of, hey, what would you like? Anything new, anything else that you guys would like to see on this channel that you haven't seen? Anything or do you have any things that you would like me to do my next videos on? I'm always looking for ideas, because if you've looked on my channel, there are over 300 videos. So when you have 300 videos, it means that you're pretty much out of ideas almost. So I'm always looking for new video ideas, and I always recommend that people share thoughts, share ideas, share comments, ask questions. That way, yeah, ask questions, because I get a lot of the ideas that I get, especially lately, a lot of when I've been posting a lot more, a lot of the video ideas that I get are from people asking me questions. So if you have questions, please do ask, and please do share, please do comment, and please do subscribe. I don't know where the subscribe button is, but if you're here and you're not already subscribed, please subscribe, because I would love to have you to be as a part of our world. Before I go, any other questions, thoughts, concerns, questions? What did you guys think of this chat? I have such a quiet bunch. But I thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thank you so very much. And let me see, a couple people asked questions. Orville, thank you for Orville. If I had a sticker to give for most active participant, Orville, you totally get it today. Ash, thank you for asking questions. Nikki, thank you for asking questions. And I think those are all the questions that I got. And thank you to everyone that popped in and out. And thank you to everyone that's still hanging out with us. And if there are no more questions, let's see. Yeah. You make excellent videos and excellent chat. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you, Orville. Thank you so much. If there are no more questions, I think I'm just going to call it a day and go get some sleep or something. Thank you guys again. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me. And please continue to leave comments and participate. Thank you. Have a good morning, world. Have an awesome day.